Peace and love, family, and welcome back to another Sunday Hope and Healing session. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason, and we're here every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time to bring encouragement, to bring hope, to share spiritual insights, and also to share actual healing that will actually be able to impact your physical body temple, healing for your mind, your emotions, and spiritual healing for the totality of your essence. We endeavor to address, and we do that through a methodology referred to as transcending the matrix, which is a holistic based approach to healing that really addresses all aspects of our beingness, and can be used for every aspect of our existence. So I'm very grateful to be able to share this and to be able to utilize this, hopefully, for the benefit and the good and the well-being of all. Okay, and so today is January 19th, 2025. Happy natal day to my beloved Sissy Pooh, Lexi Lou. Happy natal day. I love you, and I'm sending love in your direction. And for a lot of people, this is, we live in a very interesting time right now. And different people sit on different sides of what this interesting time might be. And regardless of where you sit, this is an interesting time for humanity. Interesting time for the people of the United States, but an interesting time for humanity. And many of you know that I'm a minister. And there's a symbol in the religion of Christianity that is a cross. And many of you are familiar with that, and I'm sure all of you are on some level. And it's two intersecting bars, right? And it's generally thought of in the context of what Lord Yeshua, Jesus, was killed on, was crucified on. But the meaning of this symbol is more significant than that. There are two different things happening at the same time that speak to two different aspects of who we are. There's the one part that goes up and down, and that represents our relationship with the divine, our individual spiritual selves, the link between the heavens and the earth, right? And so in this kind of sense, it represents the link between, one might say, between God and our own individual selves. And a lot of us who consider ourselves spiritually focused people, we spend a lot of our time, energy, and attention focusing on that type of relationship as far as the development of our inner being, right? But there is another part, the part that goes this way, the part that goes out, right? And that is just as significant of a part of our existence, and certainly even our spiritual existence, is the outward aspect, right? Which deals with our relationship with humanity, which deals with our relationship with the outer world. And in truth, if we are to truly dwell in the totality and the fullness of our spiritual beingness, if we're truly to be highly evolved spiritual beings that are enjoying the wonderful experience of dwelling in the sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, if we're truly to be what some refer to as the chosen ones, if we're truly to be enlightened, if we're to truly experience absolute salvation, if we're truly to experience liberation in the very realest sense of the word, then there has to be a recognition on some level that this isn't something that we can do specifically individually, right? And so in the practice of Buddhism, for instance, there's a concept that they have that kind of expresses this idea. And the enlightened one will frequently become what is referred to as a bodhisattva. And what that is one who has, in their particular perspective, it's believed that a person continues to grow and evolve spiritually over the course of what we would consider time in the context of a series of life streams of a soul moving in and out of different bodies, right? And so this process of ascension, if you will, this process of enlightenment is something that will be developed within the soul over a period of lifetimes, right? And they finally reach a point where they've overcome the limitations and the vicissitudes of this physical world, what I refer to as the matrix of third dimensional beliefs of separation, limit, and limitation that keep us locked into a fear-based perspective where all of this false evidence appears real. And we dwell as a result of that in this reptilian, fear-based, heightened, overactive amygdala, where we're constantly in this state of fight or flight, where we're going at odds against one another when we're dealing with this lack consciousness and all of these other things that stand between where we are right now and us dwelling in that sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, right? And so the bodhisattva, if you will, gets to a point where they've been cleared of the illusion, where the matrix of third dimensional beliefs of separation and limitation, that the filters that go along with that, the programming of the box that we've been programmed into, and that you and I as spiritual beings are endeavoring to transcend and get out of. They've reached a point where they've gotten out of that box and could therefore get off of what's referred to as the karmic wheel, or the wheel of, or the cycle of death, birth, and rebirth. Birth, death, and rebirth, right? And so they can go and dwell in the heavenly states, or they can dwell in, again, what I refer to as a sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, where there is only love and bliss and joy and a complete sense of divine well-beingness, all right? Well, the bodhisattva has come to a point where they don't have to continue to incarnate, if you will, to deal with the heaviness that comes with living in an earth suit, right? But because they recognize that they're not really truly free, that they haven't really completely been able to fulfill their ultimate destiny, if there are other fellow brothers and sisters in creation that are still suffering. And so there's this belief of this responsibility to, even though you're free to go on and live your best life in the spirit world, if you will, that there still is a lack of freedom on some level because your brother and your sister in creation are still suffering, okay? And so this is kind of like tomorrow. Today is Sunday, January 19th, 2025. Tomorrow is Monday, January 20th, 25. The first Monday in January, the third Monday in January, which we have designated in the United States of America as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? And so there was something that he said quite eloquently. He said that we're all caught up in an inescapable garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all of us indirectly. Somehow I cannot be my best unless you are your best, and you cannot be your best unless I am my best. This is part of the interrelated structure of our existence. He had a very keen awareness of that we're all, he also said that we'll all either live together as brothers, and I'm going to add, and sisters, or perish together as fools. He had this very real awareness that we were all divinely and innately and intricately interconnected one with another, with this profound tapestry that is woven together, one soul to another, one human being to another. And the unfortunate reality of how we often experience life amongst ourselves and with other people is in terms of this profound sense of separation, of this divide, of this cavern that exists between you over here and this person or this group over there. And then there's this push and pull, there's this power dynamic that's present, right? And so this manifests in so many ways. It manifests in so many ways throughout humanity, independent of race, color, gender, creed, nationality, and all of these things. It is part of the human condition. Okay? It's part of the human condition. It's something that we as human beings end up dealing with because guess what? It's been part of what's been programmed into us. Like a computer, I'm broadcasting from my computer and you're watching this from a computer. And maybe the computer is a handheld computer called your phone, but a computer nonetheless. Well, the reason that you're able to view this and I'm able to broadcast this because there is a computer, actually several different computer programs going. There's a computer program called StreamYard, which is allowing me to broadcast simultaneously to YouTube and to Facebook. And then there's another computer program called Chrome that is actually allowing me, because I need Chrome to be able to utilize StreamYard. And then you've got Chrome or Safari or something, or the Facebook app or the YouTube app that you're using to watch this broadcast. So there are different programs that are running to allow you to be able to hear my voice and possibly see me right now. And the programming is merely spinning out, or the computer is merely spitting out what the programming has been. There was a very specific set of coding, of programming that went into what's happening with StreamYard, with Google Chrome or Safari, with YouTube, with Facebook. And it's only able to do that because of the programming. And it's not able to do what it's not able to do based on the limitations of the programming. But definitely there is a direct correlation between what has been programmed in and what is being spat out. Okay, and in a similar way, you and I have taken in programming. We've taken in programming collectively, and we've taken programming in individually. That series, that intricate series of all of the things that we've ever heard, seen, smelled, tasted, touched, felt, and experienced from the point of our conception to this moment now, yay, going back throughout our entire ancestral line, passed down from one generation to another, is part of our programming. And it's what I said earlier, part of the box that we've been programmed into. And as spiritual beings endeavoring to enter into the sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, endeavoring to get and to become truly free, it's about transcending that matrix, if you will, and being able to see beyond all of the programming, to be able to get beyond all of the programming and to become free of it. That's what salvation actually is. That's what enlightenment actually is. That's what liberation actually is. Entering into Brahma or Nirvana or heaven is actually becoming free of all of that. That's all that is. And these are different languaging, different tools of language or different expressions of language that are all speaking to what is ultimately the same thing. And in the context of today's Sunday Hope and Healing session, we are putting out a call to action for spiritually focused people, right? And in this context, it isn't just about you. It isn't just about me. We have a collective responsibility to the greater good. There are other things I could be doing right now than this broadcast right now. I could be hanging out with my woman, enjoying a good time. But I'm here and I'm committed to doing this because I know that I have a responsibility, and I believe that we all have a responsibility to sow seeds into the greater good, to water those seeds, and to do whatever we can to truly be fruitful and multiply. Multiply in terms of the elevation of consciousness, multiply the healing, right? Multiply this sense of well-being, multiply the consciousness that whatever ultimately serves my highest good serves your highest good, and whatever serves your highest good ultimately serves my highest good, in a way that transcends our egoic, limited, separate self, focused only on me, myself, and I, but recognizes the presence and the existence of yourself carried within the body of other human beings that may look differently than you, other human beings that may believe differently than you, vote differently than you, worship differently than you, love differently than you, may have a different financial status or educational background than you, may see life very differently than you. But the reality is we are all one. We are all one, independent of that. And we all, every single one of us, has a responsibility to every single one. Right? Now, what does that mean in a practical sense? In a practical sense, and by the way, greetings, Melanie Ivy, good to see you in the space today, sis. What that means in a very practical sense is that we have a responsibility as spiritually focused people to not be so heavenly focused that we're doing no earthly good. As spiritual people, we have a responsibility to support the well-being of the earth as a whole and all of her inhabitants, right? As spiritually focused people, we have a responsibility to become as pure vessels of love and of light as we possibly can, and to then not keep that light hidden under a bushel, as Jesus said, but let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm going to let it shine, right? We have a responsibility to bring the presence and to welcome in the presence of the light of God's love into all of the places that we have shut ourselves off from because we are wanting to protect ourselves from future pain that we've experienced in the past. And in the process of that, we've tucked certain things down in the dungeon. There's been certain things that we haven't wanted to deal with. I was just sharing in a conversation yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, that, when I was a senior in high school, I received a Bible for Christmas, and I revered it. I wouldn't let anybody put anything on top of it. I wouldn't put anything on top of it. I also wouldn't crack that baby up and open it and read it either, because from an ego-based place, I wasn't wanting to stop doing the things that I wanted to continue to do that it was suggesting that I maybe needed to steer away from. And I also selfishly wasn't wanting to start doing things that my ego didn't want to start doing, right? That would have been for the greater good, for my own good and the greater good. And here's a reality check. If it isn't for the greater good, it isn't for your good. And if it isn't for your good, it isn't for the greater good. But that doesn't mean that what is for your good is what feels good to you. I'm going to let that breathe for a moment. It doesn't mean that you won't be inconvenienced. It doesn't mean that you won't have to take some steps and do some things that put you outside of your comfort zone. Because the reality is that your comfort zone is a part of your box. And the box is a prison. The prison, it by definition, is the thing that keeps you from being free. Who wants to be free today? Part of how we become free is by helping to get other people free, right? There are so many things that I was blessed to participate in as a healer. I became a much better healer when I started becoming a teacher of healing. There was so much more I learned as I started to share it with other people, right? I remember hearing that the greatest teacher is not the one with the most students, but the one who develops the most teachers. The greatest leader isn't the one with the most followers, but the one who develops the most leaders, right? And so in this sense, my deep desire is that we might collectively accept this call to action to support the well-being of the planet and all of her inhabitants. Okay? And there are some things that we can do regardless of where you are politically, regardless of where you are ideologically. We can collectively, individually and collectively, do things that support the well-being of us all, recognizing that the 10% of our brain capacity that we're using isn't enough to solve the problems that we're dealing with in all of these changing dramas that unfold on planet Earth. And there are always various and sundry dramas unfolding on planet Earth, right? But here's something that we can do. If we can lay aside the certainty that we know it all and that we know what's best and that we know exactly what what's best looks like, because we don't, because we're seeing through the filters of our own experience and frequently through the filters of our own pain, our own trauma. We're not seeing things exactly as they are. We're seeing things through the lenses of our own stuff. And this is why the Master, Jesus, said, listen, you're spending all this time trying to get on your neighbor's case that has this little speck of dust in their eye. But first, it would be much better for you to clear out the log that's in your own eye that's hindering your ability to see clearly. And once you deal with that, you'll be able to see more clearly and be able to actually offer something of greater value to your neighbor who you presently perceive as having this little speck of dust in their eye that's hindering their view and their perspective. Okay. And so to me, true wisdom, true confidence also is tempered with a degree of humility. It's also tempered with a degree of humility. There have been thousands of people across the globe that have been blessed to be a vessel of healing in their life for a lot of different things. But that does not make me special. And the reality is, if God doesn't show up, the healing ain't happening. No matter how long I might have been doing this or how many people I might have worked with in the past. Okay. There's a total dependence on something other than me as an individual doing something. You know, there have been times I've worked with people and folks said that they felt someone come in and cut something out and replace it with something luminous. I've heard people, people have told me when they, when I was in the midst of doing the healing work, that they saw a big angel standing behind me. I didn't see it. I wasn't aware of its presence. I'm just doing what I'm called to do. And I'm charging you to do what you're called to do. Because there's a part that only God can do. And there's a part that we are called to do. And sometimes, nothing happens until we say yes, right? And so I'm charging all of us to say yes to being, committed to the greater good of the earth, the planet, and serving and supporting. And I'm going to give us a little exercise, a little tool that we can use to do that. Okay. I talk a lot about the terms that I say a lot are pure love and divine light. Because the reality is a lot of times we call stuff love that isn't simply love. There's some other stuff mixed up with it. There's possession mixed up with it. There's control, a desire to control that's mixed up in it. There's fear that's mixed up in it. There's selfishness that's mixed up in it. And then even though there are people that we might love, we might not always show up in the most loving ways, because that's not real, pure, unconditional love. A love that isn't based on somebody meeting a specific set of criterion, right? Or conditions to be able to receive and experience our love. And here's a reality that's so difficult sometimes for humans to accept. And that is that we really are loved, deeply and completely loved, exactly as we are. The truth of the matter is that you have messed up sometimes. And sometimes you've messed up really bad. And it's good to take ownership of that and simultaneously to not feel guilty about it. To take ownership of it in a way that causes you to do differently, to truly repent. And repent is simply a word that means to change your heart and change your mind. And to therefore do differently based on a different heart set, based on a different mindset and a different heart posture, right? And so I think about all of these accounts I've heard about people who've had near-death experiences and didn't want to come back to life in their body because of all the love that they experienced, a love that they had never experienced before. And they didn't want to leave that. And maybe they thought about a child that they had and didn't want to leave them alone. Or maybe there was a mission that they had that they still needed to fulfill. And so they end up coming back to their body. And some folks wanted to go on to the other side. And they were advised, no, now is not your time. And they came back and felt resentful about it for a while because they didn't want to come back to this minutia, if you will, because it can be painful living here. But if it is painful living here, let us, who are spiritually focused people, do what we can to make life less painful and more enjoyable in a sustainable way for all of us. And so an exercise that I'm going to ask us to do is to allow ourselves in consciousness to go up to a high place, high above our physical bodies, high above the earth itself. to a place where the gravity isn't so great. To a place where there's harmony and where there's peace. Where there's love and where there's joy. A place that is a place of supreme blessing. And perhaps imagine coming from that place a beautiful light, pure light, a divine light. And to experience yourself almost telepathically communicating with this. You see this light and this light sees you, this divine light. And so you, from this heightened place, hold in your consciousness for this light to enter into the earth, to go down to the earth. And you might want to see this light from where you are in this high elevated place, to see this light, this divine light, infused with pure love, going down to entering into the earth realm, penetrating the earth, covering the earth, encompassing the earth, where the earth is surrounded by this pure love and divine light. And it's not only surrounding the entirety of it, it's entering into the various levels of the earth's atmosphere, moving beyond the clouds and making its way to the land. This pure love and divine light. And you may not know exactly what the manifestations of this pure love and divine light entering into the earth might look like, exactly how exactly it might materialize. But I want you to see in your mind's eye this pure love and divine light entering into the earth and entering into the soil and into the mountains and into the trees and into the water, the oceans and the seas and the rivers and the lakes, going down deep into the core of the earth. And as you did this, your body probably went down to the earth to some degree again to be able to behold this. But I want to encourage you to again elevate your consciousness way above your physical body, to the place where that pure love and divine light exists, and see it in its uninterrupted, unhindered, untethered state, shining brilliantly. And see it again moving to the earth, flowing to the earth, and encapsulating the entirety of the earth. And because I live in the United States, I'm going to see specifically this profound infusion of this pure love and divine light encompassing the entirety of the United States. With the intention that with this increased love, with this increased light, it's also bringing with it increased peace. Increased well-being for everyone. And now, what I want to invite you to do is again allow your consciousness to go up to high elevated place where there's this beautiful feeling, lightness, peace, joy. And you can see this divine light and feel this sense of profoundly pure love. And I want to encourage you to feel that pure love and that divine light entering into your body in this high elevated space. To feel your body being penetrated by this pure love and divine light. It entering into the top of your head and filling your brain, filling the entirety of your head, coming down your spinal column to your neck, going down through your chest, back and all the way down to your tailbone. It's this profound infusion of pure love and divine light, going out to the various muscles and nerves and cells, veins and arteries, capillaries, and all of the organs of your body, and your hair follicles, and your fingernails, and in your toenails. This beautiful infusion of this pure love and divine light. Even as you're dwelling in this higher plane. And now I want to invite you to bring your consciousness and your physical body back down into the earth, bringing this pure love and divine light with you. See yourself back on the earth, and perhaps if you're able to put your feet on the ground or on the floor. And imagine that you've got your feet in warm sand, warm dirt or warm sand, warm earth. And feel yourself being showered even more with this pure love and divine light. And feel that love and that light flowing through the soles of your feet into Mother Earth. And extending your hands outward into the world. And even as you extend your hands outward into the world, see that pure love and that pure light flowing out of your hands, out of the palm of your hands, out of your fingertips. And embracing the entirety of the earth and all of her peoples. various peoples of the earth, various groups, those that look like you and those don't, but you don't even have to focus on those specifics right now. Just going out to all of the people of the earth and all of the peoples of the earth and embracing the earth itself and all of her inhabitants. As you hold that in consciousness, God, I know you to be a healer. And through the union that we share through your pure love, I call forth the demonstration of your healing power on the behalf of myself and everyone who's attuned to this healing right now for the purpose of neutralizing the sense of separate self and transmuting it into a sense of joyous, honored commitment and contribution to the greater good of humanity. And complete openness and receptivity to how you are specifically directing us to participate in the fulfillment of it. And the openness to be directed, divinely directed, according to what serves not only our own highest and best good, but the highest and best good of everyone involved. And I bear witness to our wholeness on this date and in this time and space called now. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this gift of your divine love. It is done. It is done. It is done. And so let's look at right now this sense of separate self, this sense of feeling disconnected, the sense of feeling disconnected from God, feeling disconnected from our own truest selves. Purifying that through the power of pure love. Establishing a reconnection with our truest selves, a re-identification with our truest selves, not our lower nature, but our truest selves. And even using our physical bodies and all of the things associated therein or therewith to be in service of the pure love and divine light of God in the earth realm. Thank you, God. All right. And so let's take a moment now and deal with our subject, our own prejudgments about ourselves, first and foremost. Our prejudgments about ourselves, transmuting those through the power of pure love and replacing them with total and complete self-acceptance. Let's boost that up. And self-approval. My teacher, Cam Ewan, once said that unconditional love is really unconditional acceptance. For us to be able to truly love ourselves unconditionally, to truly accept ourselves as we are, while we're continually carrying out our commitment to become better versions of ourselves. So to accept ourselves where we are and diligently work towards being better than where we are now. As my Father prays daily, may we be a little better today than we were yesterday. And to strengthen us in terms of the humility of recognizing our own imperfections, the unconditional love to accept ourselves as we are, even in the midst of those shortcomings, and the commitment to allow ourselves to be spiritually alchemized to where the base elements of our own egoic lower natures can be transmuted into the gold of the soul, and that pure love and divine light, and to be able to feel it for every soul, including the souls in bodies that articulate the antithesis of what it is that you resonate with. But to be able to see them through spiritual eyes as the whole versions of themselves, rather than the broken versions of themselves, as the whole versions of themselves. To be able to see the whole version of someone else who you might have some animosity or some judgment towards. It helps to be able to see yourself through the eyes of it. Because the thing that really pains us most isn't what other people have done. It's what we have done to ourselves in terms of how it is that we are allowing ourselves to see ourselves in others as something other than pure love and divine light and expressions of pure love and divine light. We get caught up in the illusion. We get caught up in the matrix. We get caught up in the world of what things seem like. Even the most dastardly person there's a beauty in them waiting to be exposed. And so let's strengthen the clarification of our own ability to see in the mirror clearly. To be able to humbly accept what it is that we see in the mirror in terms of the totality of it, and the ability to see the whole version of ourselves and others without a need to make excuses for the shortcomings. We know that we are pure love and divine light when that becomes all that we see. For that to become all that we see, we've got to overcome our own stuff. It helps us to overcome our own stuff when we realize that we have stuff, but we are not. Our identity isn't just rooted in what our stuff might be, what our baggage might be. Okay, and now let's strengthen us all in terms of our commitment to our dharma, what it is that we're called to work out, if you will, our purpose, what it is that we are divinely designed to do in contribution to the greater good. So to be able to have clear spiritual ears to hear what that is, spiritual eyes to see what that is, and spiritual attunement to be able to naturally, very naturally line up with whatever that is, and to free ourselves from the resistance to that. Let's boost up that being free of the resistance to that. Okay. All right. Now, One of the beautiful things about us truly being ourselves is it gives other people the freedom to be themselves, because we exist in a world where we're all wearing these personalities. We're not our personalities. Personality comes from the word persona. A persona is a mask. A mask is something that hides one's true identity. And so the more we're able to transcend our persona or our mask or the illusion from our true identity, the more we're able to align with what our true identity is. And the more we're able to align with what our true identity is, the more we're able to be a vessel of healing in the earth, in terms of individually and in terms of collectively. Okay. Thank you, God. All right. Greetings, Karen. Good to see you in this space today. All right. Now let's take a moment now and let's deal with this thing of feeling alone in our spiritual work. Last week we dealt with genuine connection and being able to connect with those that support your highest and your decision to move in the direction of your highest and best good. Okay. And so now in that context on today, I want to strengthen us all to be able to work in harmony with others to be able to bring into the collective experience peace and well-being for us all. There is a 5th through the 7th chapters of the book of Matthew in the New Testament of the Bible. It's referred to as the Sermon on the Mount, where the Master Jesus was teaching, he was instructing. And part of the Sermon on the Mount included the Beatitudes. Blessed are this, blessed are these people, blessed are these people. That's referred to as the Beatitudes. And part of the Beatitudes, these beautiful things, it says, blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers. Well, there's a difference between being a peacemaker and a peacekeeper. A gentleman by the name of Reinhold Niebuhr, who is the person who wrote the Serenity Prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to discern the difference. The same person who said that also said that we have a responsibility to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. To comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. Sometimes we can grow complacent with where we are, and we can sit on our own high horse, even though for us to get there, it required other people to be pushed down. Okay. And so that's where that afflicting the comfortable came from. And yet there are certainly those who have been downtrodden in one way or another, who need to be comforted in that. And so it's this perpetual cycle of not getting complacent with where things are and lifting those who are needing to be lifted. Okay. And so let's strengthen all of us to be willing to be challenged when we're getting too comfortable and complacent. and to be willing to receive another level of healing and support when we're having difficulty. And to have the intestinal fortitude to truly be light workers in the world, those who are working in the light. Now, the thing about the light is that sometimes the way that you are best aware of the presence of the light is when it's shining through darkness. You are the light, beloved. You're the light of the world. A city set on a hill that should not be hid. You are the light. The more you know that you are the light, you can be the light. And the more that you can be the light, you can do the light. You can do what the light does. You can act and behave in a way that exudes the light, that carries out the light, that brings light in terms of enlightenment to others, but also light in terms of the absence of heaviness to others. You can be one who helps others to allow their hearts to be light as a feather. It's so beautiful. All right. So let's look at strengthening, deepening and strengthening our appreciation for those who are moving and flowing in the light. And also strengthening and deepening our awareness to our ability to be one who is authentically flowing in the power and the beauty of that pure love. Strengthen that some more. That pure love and divine light. Jesus said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. In other words, there's plenty of work to do for the well-being of all of us, but not so many folks who are committed to doing it. Let each one reach one. Let each one inspire one. Let's boost that inspire. Let each one inspire one. Let each one support one. God, thank you so much for the healing that's taken place so far today. Helping us to be able to step outside of our own individual selves and move in consciousness of our interrelated nature with others, those who look and think and act like us and those who don't. And to be able to hold the vision of the space, in the space for life being blessedly wonderful for all of us, of the earth being filled with your glory. And bountiful manifestations of that reach into every crack and crevice of the earth. That reach into every city and every borough, every crack and every crevice. That reach into the hearts of all beings. And thank you, God, for allowing us to be part of what brings that into manifestation, into fulfillment. For these and all other blessings, we give you great thanks and affirm it is done. It is done. It is done. Ashe and amen. All right, beloved. All right. No matter what things seem like, there's a greater beauty beyond what you see. I encourage us to focus on, think on those things which are beautiful, participate with them, and spread them. To spread hope, to spread cheer, to spread encouragement, and most certainly to spread the healing. The healing. That's what we do with these Sunday Hope and Healing sessions. That's what we do. We're called to action. It's spiritually focused people. We're not human doings, we're human beings. So we're called to be the light. And we're also called to do what we need to do as carriers of the light. To be in the world, but not of the world. To be in the world, not operating from the worldly mindset of all the division and the chaos and all that, but to be able to operate from a heavenly mindset, from a mind state of beauty and purity and peace and love. I love you, and I appreciate your presence on the planet. I appreciate your commitment as a spiritual being to allow your soul to enter into a place that is as heavy and as filled with gravity as this place that we call the earth, and to take on all of these different life experiences, some of which don't feel very pleasant at all. To be able to know yourself in the presence of what feels like darkness as being the light, and to be a carrier of the light in such a way that it helps to light the path of others and make it easier for other souls to navigate life on planet Earth as well, and to be able to love in the midst of all kinds of things that don't feel like love, to be able to see beauty and all in the midst of all kinds of things that don't seem beautiful, to be able to be an embodiment of all that is good and all that is pure, and to hopefully help inspire it within others, not because you're imposing it on others, but because you're living your life in such a way that others see you, and they don't just see you, they see the presence of the love and the joy and the peace that is operating within you. They want to get some of that for themselves. Let your light so shine that others might see it and want to glorify the source of it and get some of that for themselves. If you're interested at all in being able to do the work that I and others who are initiates of this Transcending the Matrix methodology, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or on Instagram at Royce Fletcher Thomason. If you're not already following us on YouTube, I invite you to follow the Matrix Healing, one word, Matrix Healing channel on YouTube, and to hit the notification bell so that you know when we're putting out more content. This content is specifically focused on supporting the well-being of us all. The well-being of us all includes the well-being of you. Okay. If there's a specific topic that you'd like me to address in the Sunday Hope and Healing sessions, after this broadcast is complete, leave a comment. I won't see it if you do it in the live broadcast, but once the broadcast is complete and you are doing a playback and you post a comment, I'll be able to see it. You can also put that in the Royce Fletcher Thomason YouTube, Royce Fletcher Thomason Instagram, or DM me on Facebook at Royce Fletcher Thomason. Anyway, I love you, beloved. We've got a class coming up, level 1 training in Transcending the Matrix, February 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We've got a level 2, Transcending the Matrix intermediate level training, mental and emotional healing, neurological upgrading, and brain optimization class that's taking place on March 22nd or the 23rd. To take the March class, you will have already had to have taken the level 1 class. But once you've taken a class, you can repeat it as many times as you like for free. And I encourage you to repeat it continuously. There's just so much value in it. Anyway, that does it for us for today. I love you. I pray deepest wishes for your highest and best good, for you to be your highest and your best self, and for you to enjoy your life truly to the fullest. And so, as we continue to endeavor to enter into this sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, until we meet again, I bid you adieu with peace and love. Catch you next time.